welcome everybody to today's regularly called workshop. It is about 2:15 on October 16th, 2025. First item is public comments. None. Okay. Next item is to discuss any of the regular meeting agenda items for tonight's meeting. We are going to pull off consent item E, correct? Yep. We're gonna pull that one. Staff or council, anything else need to be pulled? Nobody? Nobody's even looking at that and going, no. So we're good. Okay. Do we have any, yeah, there we go. E and Z. No, I never. And this morning. That's. Those ladies said they were super hot.
What did Ashton have been on?
Well, somebody else may have been a little orange.
Is that you?
Mariah.
Okay.
She needs a.
I do. I'm the one who's ever hot over here.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
All right.
Not gonna take care of that.
Multitask. I mean, Mayor, you gotta be able to multitask.
That's right.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. And so the update today is 3 items that are all related to the same project. And that is this zoning case 29-ZC. Recent annexation, this is for the future Meadow Lake development at 8930 and 9800 Old Highway 95. This one also includes a couple of amendments to the comprehensive plan. So this is also just to let you all know that when zoning cases are going to move forward in the future to P and Z and council, for guidance from city management, this makes a ton of sense that we're going to have the amendments before the rezoning, so it gets amended at that time as opposed to a promise of, hey, in the future, we'll amend this and we'll group them all together. So that's what we have. We have 3 items related to this project, a thoroughfare plan amendment, but also a comp plan amendment. And so what we did at P and Z, and it seemed to work well, it seems to be consistent with how we do things here as well, is group them together in a single presentation. So these would all get read in first, present, and then action separately on 3 items in order. So comp plan, thoroughfare plan, and then the zoning case. So, on the left, this is just an example of the thoroughfare plan amendment. This whole area, is future land use, residential, neighborhood service. And so we, well, the pink, and also these are activity centers at major intersections. We evaluated to say some of the uses that are proposed, such as multifamily, and some commercial uses like self-storage, don't really fall into residential neighborhood service. A better category that addresses the entire mixed-use project would be corridor mixed use. So that's what the request is for the plan amendment, thoroughfare plan. And of course, it's challenging, especially 5 years ago, a lot has changed in 5 years, but to anticipate what is going to be annexed. So as these projects, as these developers have acquired projects or property, move them forward for annexation and rezoning, thoroughfares are going to change as well. So we just wanted to make sure that the thoroughfare plan alignment matches up with the site plan for this phase of Meadow Lake. And you can see it on the right. So this is a mix of multifamily, commercial, residential, variety of single family residential townhouses as well. Once again, adjacent to Old Highway 95. You have a future in blue here, future major arterial. And then you have a future community collector in orange. And so we're just bringing the thoroughfare plan in alignment with what is already planned. So yeah, just a little more detail when we look at, zooming in on the comp plan amendment. And this area down here, this is part of a much larger Meadow Lake development. This is just a phase of the rezoning. And then on the right here, you can see a little bit better where those, the collector, this major collector, and then a future arterial up here. So, staff's recommendation and P and Z's recommendation were for approval. There is one item that will draw your attention to where, we were in disagreement with staff recommendation, of course, however many items there are, conditions 14, so of course there are probably, I think, 17. So the rest of them were in agreement, but want to spend just a second pointing that one out. This is also a conditional use permit. Understanding that the developer wants to have as much flexibility as the developer desires, and we get that. This is the same developer, of course, that has done Westfield. Westfield 10 years ago used the same approach, and it has worked well, but there was one item that we felt like as staff, that, maybe has changed a bit in 10 years since Westfield was done, and that's the ability to have a conditional use permit, just blanket, that would allow bars anywhere, of course, not, I say anywhere, in the general retail. So up here in the red area, and still subject to the distance requirements from schools, public schools and et cetera, churches. So our recommendation, let's get there. I'll come back, but so the request was, once again, about flexibility to have the ability to put essentially a bar, that is the 75% revenue from alcohol or more, as opposed to a restaurant, which is less than 75% or even less than 50, but a bar is essentially 75% or more. We suggested that by right, it would be a restaurant level bar. So you have that mix. And it's fine, the developer presented to P and Z, and P and Z agreed that the developer has been transparent with future owners, and that bars are not gonna be bars aren't gonna be everywhere. In the Westfield development, there's one bar. In the Westfield kind of town center there, it's a wine bar. So we understand the desire to have ultimate flexibility. We just felt like maybe that should be a CUP of an actual just bar that's not associated with the restaurant. So P and Z felt it was fine. So we're obviously fine with that. That's just want to point that out to you all, that everything else we're in agreement on, including the percentages. So minimum 40% single family, maximum 10% of essentially townhouses, max of 25% for multifamily, and a max of 25%, of course, this is the land area, as general retail. The setbacks, all that pretty standard, very consistent with other developments, by this developer of these larger master plan mixed use developments.
So cool.
Buffering and screening, just making sure that that's adequately addressed. And landscaping, so actually doing a minimum of 10% on the retail and multifamily as opposed to 5%, which is required by code. Adding trees to single family lots that we don't require, but this developer and most of them do anyway. So that is all on that 3-part case. Any questions?
Go back to the third one.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the plan for 95? Is that?
Okay, I'm so glad you mentioned that because that is very important for me to point out. So thank you, Councilmember Grant, for bringing that up. So It's an arterial on the thoroughfare plan, but of course, if you've been out there, you know it's not built as an arterial. I mean, it's essentially 24 feet of pavement, and so something that needs to be addressed in the future, and we didn't say by whom, but improvements in order to accommodate this scale of development are needed for Old Highway 95. So it's, just making an arterial on the map does not magically make it actually built as an arterial or to be able to support the level of traffic. But Mr. Deckman is going to give this presentation, so he'll give a lot more detail in terms of the amount of traffic that this phase could produce and the specifics of the condition of Old Highway 95 and what an arterial once built as an actual arterial with, these 3 lanes, typically 4 lanes, as opposed to right now, 2 with very little extra right of way.
This all, yeah.
I don't know if the estimate the address it later, but the rerouting, if you will, of 93,
Yes, sir.
I can visualize better on the map a little bit. Will you show me where it starts and where it begins?
93,
No,
or Old Highway 95?
and on this map.
Okay.
So 94 on that first. Okay.
Yeah, so Old Highway 95, of course, becomes Little River Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
What's your question, sir?
this is gonna change, correct? If I look at
Not 93, there are improvements, because that's also a future phase of Meadow Lake. That's actually in planning stage, and so there will be improvements, but the alignment
it's gonna
is
stay.
not, it's gonna stay the
Okay,
same.
that's my question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question.
The scale on those maps is not the same.
Right.
So 93 on the middle picture is at the very top.
Yes,
Got it.
that's correct.
Okay, that was
And it,
confusing.
yes,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure that out myself. So
Yeah.
93 is in the middle of the map on the left side,
That's
but
right.
at the top.
Yeah.
So if you were looking at that green line, thinking 93 was gonna dip down instead of up like I was,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking at.
then yeah,
Yes. thank
took
you.
me a second to orient myself.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Any additional questions on this project? All right, the other piece of my update is the annexation for the lead track.
Hey, Brian,
Yes,
real quick.
yes,
So consumption of alcohol or alcohol sales,
yes.
what are the different levels? There's 50% plus, right? We know what that is. 75%. Does that basically then push it to 50% plus, or are there different gradients?
Different.
In
different-
there.
Different gradients, there's, maximum 50%,
Yeah,
which that is definitely in the restaurant threshold.
right.
75% is still considered a restaurant threshold. And then there's above 75% for
Okay.
all alcoholic beverages, which is what the request.
And staff recommendation is less than 75%.
Yeah, so that's what we were recommending. P and Z is recommending the 75% more from the city.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, so there's conflict between P and Z and staff.
That's right.
Got it.
So that, hopefully we'll clearly present that, but it's ultimately, okay, that's the only difference, is that item.
Okay,
And, the developer did a good job of explaining why and how, from his perspective, he would rather have someone buy the property, know that a bar is likely. And you just don't know exactly where, but to buy a piece of property knowing that one is likely, probably gonna happen somewhere in there.
Yeah.
As opposed to coming back later
sure.
with a request of, hey,
Like I said, maximum flexibility.
yeah, maximum flexibility.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Voluntary annexation, so 51 acres. TEDC is the owner of this property now. And so there will be a light industrial rezoning that is in progress. Christina is case manager for that. And so this is essentially an expansion of Synergy Park. And so, you know, are probably aware of this, and of course, the Rowan project is just to the north of it, so this also fills some of that gap between current Synergy Park and then expansion through Rowan. So it's nothing unusual on that one, and pretty standard stuff.
Very good. Chelsea, anything for Mr. Chandler? Okay, very good. Appreciate it.
So I'm gonna hand it over to Jeff Fisher, our System Director, to give a brief update on UDC. But
Okay.
it's really just the approach, the phased approach, kind of what those phases include, the overall calendar. I want to thank Bren and David for helping us tackle the beast in terms of meeting dates, you know, establishing that through the end of next year, and to Jeff and the team's credit, sticking to that, and it's, it's going very well. So Jeff's doing a great job. Want to hand it over to him, and he can give you a quick update.
Very good. Good to get that ball rolling.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know all of you on a one-to-one basis yet, but I've been here about 4 months enjoying myself, so, I think this is a great community, and I'm happy here, and so the UDC was one of the first projects, Brian had given me with development services, and so, it's very front-loaded, a lot of this stuff, the initial drafts are all due before, the winter holidays, and then, between then and the end of the year, next year it'll be, the final ordinance wouldn't be brought forward, usually probably until like the fall or the end of next year, so we have some time on this, but we just wanted to kind of go over the schedule and kind of where we're at, and then we'll get more into the details at a future meeting, but, just so you know, this is moving along, so, today's the city council workshop, we're meeting with TABA what we did is we broke it into, 6 phases. Because it was so large, and we just wanted to make sure that we were kind of moving along and progressing every month, and giving our city management, giving our town folks regular check-ins. And so the low-hanging fruit, as Brian calls it, is pretty much the signs section. There is a lot of detail and a lot of content there, but that's kind of in one section as it is already. So we started there. Agency roles and procedures, moving on to section 2 is looking at ways that we can be more effective for our community in terms of approving plats quicker, or, variances and things like that, certain things may not need to go to the CBA, maybe something that our planning director could approve, administratively. Some things may not have to go to you all either, they may be things, so we're looking at that right now. The third one is more the technical side is subdivisions, and so these are procedures would be subdivision procedures, but subdivisions would be your technical standards, your engineering standards, how wide are the roads, how wide is the right of way, things like that. So we've been having some really good discussions with engineering and with other city staff on that. 4 is the zoning and overlay districts. So this is looking at our I-35 corridors and our team head. So we, before I'll finish the last 2 here, so zoning table, specific use standards. So the zoning table would be where the use is allowed, and then the specific use standards would be certain uses that would have additional standards that they would meet. And then development standards, or call this general standards, this would be wherever you are. If you're residential, what kind of screening fences would you require next to commercial and things like that. So basically, you can see the progress we've been making so far in the reading. So we've already, White, Smith, and Casino has been our consultant on this. So they prepared the initial draft. That's the first column on the left. This actually goes a lot further, but I just wanted to fit on the screen and kind of just give you a general update tonight. We have other items, of course, but generally speaking, they did a preliminary draft, and then the second step was staff doing a review. So that's our Kyle Nuttall with legal, our planning group, kind of going over that. And then the third column is meeting with city departments. And so subdivisions, for example, not all the phases go in the same group, but mostly the same. So engineering had a large role in phase 3, of course, because we're dealing with technical standards, and then science was a little bit more with transform template, because that's usually an enforcement issue with those. So we've already gotten the first two drafts, back and we sent them to Tava, so, Tava will be giving us comments. They've had some really good conversations with Michael Smith and with the group there, so we've been moving them in. Our first stakeholders meeting is going to be next, 2 weeks from now, on the 30th. And that's gonna be looking at the first kind of two phases together. We've worked with our communications division, done a great job with Ambry and Heather's group of sending out, information, so that will be communicated to the public this week. And we've already got our website up, so the EDC website, so it's moving along. And then we'll have two more stakeholders meetings. So what'll happen is each phase will go through. Eventually, when we get into next year, there'll be a council workshop, which will give you more details for each one. And then what our plan at this point was, when we get to phase 7, which is final adoption, you guys have already seen each round, so you know what's going on, so there's no surprises. By then, we'll have at least 2 meetings with Tava, so this is the next page here. So each phase is gonna have 3 drafts, gonna have 2 city department meetings, 2 city meetings with Tava, a P and Z workshop, and then a city council workshop, and then go down to phase 2, and they're staggered, so they're moving along at the same time. 3 public stakeholders meetings, so 1 and 2 together, 3 and 4 together, 5 and 6. And then the final implementation, and I'll put it, I added a disclaimer in a second. P and Z, will be November of next year, city council workshop, November 19th, and then, council meeting on December 3rd. City council second reading, December 17th. This is assuming that, major or even minor changes have to be made. Tava has additional comments, so if we get through the first draft with them at our meeting and it's pretty straightforward, we can look at adjusting this. This is the worst case scenario. So at least you know it will be by next year, this will be done and hopefully stay for the next decade or so. So again, things might be adjusted. If we overpromise and underdeliver, I've learned my job is not good, so we're gonna underpromise and hopefully overdeliver. So see how that goes. So that's pretty much the discussion, but like I say, the first 2 phases have already gone to Tava. Subdivisions, we're waiting, we'll have city comments by tomorrow. And then, the zoning districts and the development standards we're working on now, and our use table as well. So they did well, the consultant gave us a draft to work with. And I think so that gave us a good start. And really, it's just an update from where it was left off before. So any of the new situations or some of the new state laws and things, we've made some adjustments to be responsive to that. So that concludes our hopefully short presentation. If anyone has any questions.
Would you go back one, just back to the schedule there?
Sure.
So, no, I'm sorry,
Oh, okay.
the one that my brain can sort of
This one here.
gather, yeah.
Okay.
So each phase, right, the phases are across the top. Each phase is going to go through the 3 drafts, departmental meetings. So, okay,
That's correct.
so just tearing it apart phase by phase and then informing everyone as we go, phase by phase.
That's right.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's a lot, right? But still, it's important and it's just a lot of information to absorb, so.
I'm very appreciative too, we continue here, everyone's been big help, city managers tweaking everything and making sure that schedule, that was the big thing was the upfront, we want to make sure
Yeah.
we were on track. Title folks, but all the city staff too, and even IT, it's kind of been in the background, that created a smart sheet so that Kathy's helping with that, just checking the boxes as they go along.
Yeah.
I don't have to just put a little swoosh on the Excel table, which is a little bit old school, but just having it in an actual computer table and updating it, so.
Okay.
One thing that's not specifically mentioned here that I know I've talked to some folks individually about was, as we get to the end of this process, it require us to notify every address in the city of a zoning change. So the part of the reason you see like a phase is going to come to council for a workshop to get kind of that informal, this looks like what we're thinking and that we can support this. But when you get to the end of all of the phases, there will be a formal adoption for the UDC change as a whole.
Yeah.
Which will require, notice to be sent to the entire city. So that's a pretty massive undertaking. We don't want to do that more than once. And this process will allow us to get through digest everything, have the buy-in behind it, and putting a formal approval on it.
We also didn't want to propose that you adopt it in phases because changes in one section may impact ones that haven't been taken forward yet, but we also didn't want to come on November 19th of 2026 and say, here's a presentation on the UDC. So I think this is the, a good compromise where you won't formally adopt it as we go along, but we'll make sure you're comfortable with what's, being proposed. And then we'll move to the next phase. And then at the end, we'll do one full adoption altogether. It'll be fun.
It won't be, but that'll be a great, obviously, that will also be a great learning opportunity for the council to sort of dig into those things in smaller bites. So I like that plan. Is this a typical plan, like whenever other cities have done this? I know that there's a consultant, right? Is this something that other cities, I mean, is this a typical way to go through this and, you know, piece by piece? Or how's it normally done?
I've worked with some other cities and most of my career's been in Texas anyway, so I would say, yes, this is pretty normal. I worked in some communities where I was the person that just drafted the codes and we didn't have consultant at all, and in other places the consultant did all of it. So I think this is pretty normal. Sometimes we call the stakeholder meetings town halls, just to be a little
Sure,
more community oriented, but I think given that we've had, I guess there's been already some discussions and meetings from last year and just moving it forward. But yeah, I would say it's, you know, fairly consistent.
Okay.
Again, every city's different. You know, some of them that like, especially, I think if this was a brand new ordinance, we would have a lot more impact. But I think just for an update, just still a lot, but a little bit less intense. And, you know, we don't necessarily need a charade where they sit down and go over all the colors on the map. It's already got that pretty much, but the changes in the text, I think is pretty, yeah.
Okay.
But let me add, it's just been here only 4 months, and so it doesn't know the entire context, that our consultant usually does it all together. And so this is actually a new approach for them. And so, you know, we just realized together that this is going to work much better for our community. And frankly, I'm not quite sure how they were able to do it in other cities, even like Amarillo. And Amarillo is a much bigger community, but they typically do it all at once. And that's just, like you said, a little too much to fight off at one time.
I think that, I don't know Amarillo's, perspective, but we are very collaborative with our development community, so I don't see any possible way to do. I get, if you were just being able to write the code and adopt it, but if you want to work collaboratively, it would be very hard to do that in one giant 1,000-page document.
And how long ago, was our UDC, the current UDC adopted? How old is it?
But when it was adopted, it just took the existing, prior to having the UDC, which stands for Unified Development Code, we had a separate subdivision ordinance and a separate zoning ordinance. So when that was adopted, it was supposed to be done in 2 phases, where the first phase was just keeping all the standards the same and just combining them into one code. And then there was supposed to be a second phase where we did this. Here we are. This is phase 2, 15 years later. So we haven't changed standards since,
Before.
because all that did was, I mean, we've changed individual things, but not a comprehensive update to the code. I don't know.
Okay.
When.
Okay.
But that process is what resulted in Christmas lights being outlawed.
Right.
Fun fact,
There you go.
you decorate for Christmas? Watch out, Buford's coming for you.
I'll write you. Anything for Mr. Fisher? Or you get him off the hot seat? Thank you, sir.
All right. thank you.
Appreciate it. You bet.
Thank you.
Next is to receive departmental updates from communication and destination services and fire to follow.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are y'all?
Good.
Well, I'm excited. The last time I spoke to y'all, I think was in May. So I'll be providing some updates on communications and destination service from June through September. Okay, so just jumping right into our marketing and digital media division. This division is led by Lindsay, who is in the middle. Alexis over on the left, Garrett, and then Ambry on the right are really the core marketing team. And then Brenda next to Lindsay's right-hand side. She is our department's administrative assistant, but also helps with our internal and employee communications. So some highlights from this division. One of our major communications initiatives was, of course, working with the solid waste team on the brush and bulk communications that went out, including the change in collection days, the citywide cleanup, and then the brush and bulk process, the new process and timing. So we did several things when we communicated that, and we worked really closely with solid waste. But I have a few things up here that I wanted to point out. Of course, we did social media. We did some billboards as well throughout the community. But we also did a UVO insert, a printed insert, which we don't do a whole lot of those unless it's kind of a specialized communication. We also did a telegram ad and then door hangers. The door hangers, just an update for y'all on that. They are currently in the process of hanging those now. And hope it will take about 30 or 40 days to get them. So excited about that. And we are working with a local temp agency to help get those out as well.
30 to 40 days, that seems like a long time. Do you think it's a long time or not just?
I think it's a good time, I think it's a reasonable amount. Just based on how long it took us.
30 or 40 more, or 30 or 40 from the time it started?
From the time it started.
Okay, they started a couple weeks ago.
No, they started, Monday or Tuesday. It took a while to get the contract with the temp agency and there was a kind of a process, but it did resign, so.
We've been doing it in-house to targeted areas as staff is
Yes,
available.
sorry,
That's
that
the piece I was
might be-
looking for, thank you.
And it was the 14th, I believe, when the temp agency started. So their focus will be only on the flyers, only on the door hangers rather, citywide. But there have been pockets of the community that have already been. And as you'll recall, you asked me and our teams to focus on where there were existing piles setting out, making sure that people knew that there was a different process. So we've been doing it as we've with existing staff, starting with areas that we've noticed piles, but now this team that we've hired is going to do it blanket citywide, and they started on the 14th, I think,
Yes,
is what Heather told me. Yeah.
Yes,
How long is it gonna take to cover the whole city?
30 to 45 days.
Really?
And that's with, I believe, 5 temp workers working Monday through Friday, maybe from like 7:30 to 4:30, something like that.
35,000 doors, right? Isn't it?
Not
Something like
doors.
that.
Yeah. Is it like-
Doors. So that's the update there.
And we also want to make sure, I think that's the time it's gonna take, right? That is what it is, but I think it's also reasonable in that we don't want to overwhelm the
Yeah.
the call, the ability, the appointment schedule. So it is, we want people to have a good experience. So when they get when they get the door hanger, they realize there's a new process that they haven't heard from another communication source. I think spacing it out over a month will help us make sure we can absorb all those new calls and not, people not have a bad experience, because thus far, I think, and Heather, I didn't ask you this, but I'm going to put you on the spot, here is, generally speaking, I think for the most part, if you, right now, if you call their schedule, there's appointments available with a pretty quick turnaround, just a day or two, so, you know, it's still working really well, but we just wanna, that's another benefit of kind of stepping it in, is just making sure that, as people realize, oh, I need a call for that, we have appointments for them.
So I included this slide, we're always we meet with our departments monthly, all of the city departments that we support, and we're consistently and constantly working with them on getting their communications out and anything that they need, but these are some of the things that I wanted to highlight. Parks and Recreation continues to work towards their CAPRA accreditation, and one of the requirements for that was to have a strategic marketing plan, so we did, work on that and create that, so they could check that box on their accreditation through their accreditation process. We have been working, like Jeff and Brian said, with them on some of the UDC updates, like creating a dedicated webpage for that. All the collateral that they're gonna need, the community meetings, and getting the word out and educating, folks on that. Alley maintenance and illegal dumping are some things that have recently been put on our radar, so we're working to have some evergreen content on that to consistently get that education and that messaging out through our various platforms. And we now have a dedicated webpage for that as well. And then we worked with Heather and her team on creating a TTX Connect video, more of an educational video to talk about process. What does it look like on our end when you call us? How do we help you? What's kind of the process that you go through when you make one of those phone calls? We did our Hometown Heroes banner program again this year, and I just wanted to show this because the program is growing. It grew from 23 to 24, and now we've had 10 more participants this year, which is exciting, and I think it's just going to continue to grow. We are going to be looking at updating the guidelines for that program. We're going to be reevaluating the cost of the program. There's people who have done it before and they reuse their banner, and so we're wanting to allow them to just do that at no cost and not have to pay the fee. There's a couple other things that we're going to be looking at and just making that more accessible and easy for people to participate in, and hopefully it does continue to grow. We worked really closely with the VA this year. Amber went up there in person and handed them some handouts on the program, and I think put it up on their little bulletin boards and stuff. And then we really saw our numbers increase after that. So that was, we were a little bit nervous, honestly, in participation early on, but it really did pick up. And I do think overall it's a really, really great program. And then on the same note, the Veterans Day ceremony is happening on November 10th this year. This slide is simple on the map, so I just wanted to highlight that we are being contacted. I'm just bragging on us, basically. Bobby Lerman, she's the, I think, assistant director at the City of College Station. She reached out to us and just wanted to chat about our structure, how we work with our departments, and just ask some basic questions there at College Station. And then the City of Josephine, Texas, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but they reached out on our Hometown Hero Banners program because they're getting ready to start a program of their own, and they wanted to just chat through how we came up with ours and our process and our guidelines. Mecklenburg, North Carolina reached out to us regarding the community summit. I think they saw a feature in the Texas Town and City magazine that TNL does on the City of Temple's community summit. So they reached out to get some more information from us on how we do that. We always submit presentation proposals to TAMIO and 3CMA so that we can be some of the featured speakers at those conferences. And we recently presented at TAMIO and 3CMA in 2025 on internal communications. The 3CMA one was a webinar, and NDPIO Association followed up with us after that webinar. And NDPIO is North Dakota Public Information Officers Association. And they wanted to see if we would be interested in doing a webinar for them for their association group membership. And then lastly, as the Region 5 director of for TAMIO, I'm going to be hosting I'm just calling it a mini con. So anybody from Region 5 can come to Temple, and we're going to do kind of like a mini conference, which is going to be a little bit longer than, it'll be about 9 to 1. And we'll just have all of the Region 5 people, which is Austin, Waco. It actually is a pretty big region in Texas, come here to Temple to learn from us, and I think that's really, really cool. And then as part of my Region 5 directorship, I'll be hosting them in other places too, but I wanted to do it.
Heather, how many community summits have we done?
3, I think this year is the 3rd.
I remember the first one was very well attended. Everyone was maybe even surprised by the amount of attendance.
Yeah,
How have those been
they've been great. I think.
afterwards?
Yeah, we always get really good feedback during the event.
Yeah.
Every year we make small tweaks and small adjustments based on the feedback we receive either there or from staff or whatnot. So this year we moved it to November 14th. We have been doing it in the first Friday in October or sometime in the beginning of October and for reasons. We moved it back to November, and I think that's gonna be really, really good.
Tracking attendance? How's attendance been?
Attendance is really well. I think it's just over or just under 2,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Both years so far?
I think the first year was around 1,500, something
Okay.
like that, but
Yeah.
still impressive for that type of event for the
Yeah.
first year.
Yeah.
So.
Very good.
So that's us. Now we're gonna jump into special events. Back in May, I think when I presented then, I had, just provided the update that special events was now under the communications department. And so, just as a reminder, we've got them and they are a great group. I love working with them. They're all fantastic. We've got Amanda on the left, Tim, and then Lindsay oversees that division as well, and then Chelsea and Ashley. So just some quick updates on special events. One of the things that they were working on when they were in Parks and Rec and continued to work on when they came over to us was getting an outdoor event application software going. And when they came over to us, we pretty quickly were able to get it online, because before someone had to actually print out the PDF and then fill it out or manually do it on the computer and then take it in. And so we got an online form up, but really the end goal is to have this application software where it's easy for the user on the front end to be able to fill it out. It's very streamlined. And then it comes into the departments who need to have access to those applications, and everything is and flows really easily. So we are getting ready to kick off this process. And there is a project committee that Special Events has put together and includes several departments. Everybody who touches special events would be on that or is on that. And then we're continuing to work with finance to be able to have online payment capability. So excited about this project. We're also working with special events to develop an internal special events volunteer program. It takes a lot to put on some of those special events. And when they were in Parks and Rec, obviously Parks and Rec is a much bigger department, and they have some resources that they can pull. We're still gonna work with them as we're able to do that, but we wanted to also extend a more formalized opportunity to employees to be able to participate in the special events. And we're still working on those guidelines and working everything out, but I think it's gonna be a really great program where we can go outside of one department to request assistance with those events. And I know some people really wanna be a part of those as well from our employee base. And then we're just working on payroll on that implementation currently. So the Santa Fe Community Market is overseen by the Special Events Division. Back in the summertime, I believe, we were wondering, do we do these markets quarterly? Do we do these markets? Actually, let me go back just a second. I didn't have the bullets, so I forgot. An update on the construction, the completion of the construction is it should be complete by maybe middle of November is what I'm hearing as of just a couple days ago. They said there's about a month left about construction. So that should be wrapping up very shortly. As far as operating the market, a few months ago in the summer, we visited some local markets in Waco. I think Lindsay went to Austin. And we just gave them little business cards and said, hey, we're from Temple. This is our new market. We targeted vendors who we felt like would fit the vibe and the atmosphere of the community market. And we just asked them questions about how they operate, how they prefer to operate. Would you participate? What things would you like to see, that kind of thing. And we got some really, really good feedback. And through that feedback, we were able to make the decision on the market cadence, because we weren't sure if we should do a quarterly market every other month or monthly. And we're gonna, we are going to be operating a monthly market, and, we're really excited to start that. As far as starting the market, we are slating the grand opening for spring or sometime probably toward the end of the first quarter in 2026. But before the grand opening and the first market that we have, we are just tossing around the idea of maybe doing some kind of stakeholder review market or night market or something kind of cool, to really make a big deal about that. As far as communication goes for the market, we did secure the social media handles because we're probably gonna create its own platform. I think there will definitely be enough content for that, and we're just working on developing the brand voice and the marketing strategy and all of the tactics that kind of go along under that to help support the market's success. Rink on the Rails, so this is also a new initiative for the ice rink, and we're really excited that this was funded. It's gonna be really, really amazing for our community and for downtown Temple. The market, or not the market, sorry, the ice rink, it'll be in operation, it'll be located at the MLK Festival Ground, right behind the Sunville Building in that parking lot in that fenced area. And it'll operate from the 12th of December through January 4th. The cost, no matter what your age, will be $12 per 90-minute session. And then there are the little skate aids for $5.
What's skating?
You know, like the little whales and penguins, and you can.
No, I don't, but I can.
Like
Like a walker.
Yeah.
It's a skating walker. That's good. Mhm. I think adults can use them as well. I would personally, but I won't be out on the ice.
I agree.
Too risky. We're working with the company on, corporate bookings and what that could look like if, someone wants to rent the facility for a night or have a corporate event out there. And so we're working through that. We're also working on securing sponsorships and seeing how all that can shake out and working with the company on that as well, because they have some recommendations for us on how we can leverage that. And then we're also working with some Christmas decor vendors and getting some lights. So hopefully it's a magical winter wonderland. And I think it's gonna be amazing. So we're looking forward to that as well.
What do you see the hours being? And then 7 days a week?
There are hours, I believe there are during school hours, like, because school's not out until I think the 18th or 19th. So those hours will be different than when school lets off for Christmas vacation.
Yep.
I think it's 7 days a week. I just don't remember the actual.
That's fine.
But I think on Friday nights and Saturday nights, it goes pretty late till 10, 11, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I do believe it's open 7 days a week.
And Carl, there are those little skate
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
things
there's
right back there.
Good,
Skating.
good.
Those look like polar bears. Those are cute.
Carl, I can see you behind one of them, holding on for dear life.
Fluffy.
We need to have a calm day.
Oh, that is
I need to wrap ourselves in bubble wrap so it's allowed.
That's a great idea.
Big helmet.
I don't know that we have that in the budget, but we're gonna on it.
Or something.
It's gonna be great. I hope to see you all on the ice, cause it's real ice also, by the way. Legit ice,
Yeah,
not the fake stuff.
no.
Uh,
hard.
So for our public relations and engagement division, this is Megan, Noelle, and Emily. Again, just as a reminder, this team focuses on relationship with the local media and then also all of our community engagement and recognition events. They plan those as well. So our online newsroom is managed by this team. The goal of the online newsroom is to really be a hub of information for anything that the city puts out. So when we post something on social, if it's applicable, we want to make sure that we're always tying it back to the newsroom. So hopefully this is still fairly, I don't even think this is a year old yet. But this is where all of our city media releases go. Police and Fire also put their releases here. We have all of the Let's Talk Temple and Behind the City videos here. And then there's contact information for members of the media to use as well. But the newsroom really is, it really is meant to be sort of the, instead of going to, a local TV station channel.com goes to TempleTX.gov/news. So that is the goal there, and it's going really well so far. It really is a great tool, and I'm glad that we have that. Let's Talk Temple, this is our video series where we, educate the community on major projects or major topics that are ongoing. And so we did, back in June, we did an Understanding City Fund, and, worked with finance and city manager's office on that, just to write, during
I didn't
the.
authorize this photo and you caught me
I
wearing
know.
the stage jacket. So you need to warn me next time.
Sorry, I'll let you know. I'll give you a heads up.
Council day, too.
It's
I
my
got it.
council day jacket, apparently.
I got a ticket one time and I was wearing the night the trooper gave me a ticket, I was wearing the same shirt as my driver's license. So.
I've
there
been
you go.
there, I've been there.
Smooth.
So we did that one in preparation for the budget coming out, and then we did a Tanglefoot one, which I think you can tell has the most views, which I think is expected, but also I'm happy that it does, because that was a very big topic, and I think it needed those views. And so the goal of that video was just to, explain the funding of Tanglefoot and how the funding can be utilized from hotel to hotel. And I thought that was really well done by the PR team. We did a synergy partner.
How are those advertised?
Yeah.
Because I was on the city website, just wandered across it.
Mhm.
And, I was just telling Brent, I watched the September, the budget presentation she did. Very well done, very informative. It was very nice. And I just wonder if is the city pushing that out on their socials?
We put it on social. I couldn't tell you everywhere where we have a link
Yeah.
to it, but we do try and link to it from other, like in the newsletter. I think
Yeah.
there's a link to it. I think it's on the homepage. Is that how you found it on the homepage? Okay.
Big way at the bottom. They'll scroll down pretty far. I think. So, but very well done. No, I was on mine. But
Can you
again,
make
very
a-
well done.
You make a good point. Those are awfully important points for people to be aware of. So I mean,
Yeah.
getting the word out.
Yeah.
They're available.
Well, I assumed it was going out on socials and I missed it. So maybe I'm not as engaged on the city's social stuff as I should be.
These are
That's
some
fine.
of the
I will
more
let you choose your.
detailed, substantive
I know that.
communications that we've talked about recently.
Yeah,
They go into, some really good detail. Noelle with her news, journalism background, I think does a great job. And, a lot of people like to watch videos versus read. I'm not one of them, but, a lot of people are. So I think that, the more that we could get, the more visibility we could draw to this, I think this is the kind of stuff that y'all have given me feedback. You want this kind of party content. And I mean, they've done some on our pavement maintenance program. Water treatment, I think, may have been one of the early ones. So, I mean, there's some really good content that they've covered. And we just need to make sure that it's, reaching as many people as we can. So, they do a good job with this series. It's really, it's not superficial. They get into the details and really help you understand.
Noelle is really great.
what's sort of the target length for the video?
I
Depends
mean,
or?
it does, just in general, the shorter the better on
Right.
social media, but for something like this, I have a pretty short attention span, I'm not gonna lie. But when I'm watching these videos and the behind the city videos, if they go to like 5 or 7 minutes, I'm still fully engaged, just because they do a good deep dive, and it's at a level where I think most people would be able to
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
She'll break it up over multiple videos though, if it gets too long,
Right.
like the pavement.
yeah.
She did a series and that may have been actually behind, I think that was Let's Talk
I think it was
Temple.
Let's Talk Temple.
So I think she did 3 or 4 of those because it was so much detail. We wanted to, not have a
And so
10-minute or
for
20-minute
backstop,
long video.
Make sure to check out whatever, because they're on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, so
Yeah.
there's a repository there as well.
No, very well done.
And then we did a brush and bulk one as well, in August. And then the budget one that you came across, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, Let's Talk Simple has been great, and we'll continue to see if there's any other avenues. If y'all have any ideas on ways that we can help get the word out about the video series, that would be amazing. To share those with me, and I'm happy to look into that. This is Behind the City. The goal with the Behind the City series is similar. It's to educate the residents, about our processes, why we might do a certain thing that we do. And then also to shine a spotlight on our employees and the people who are doing the work. One of our other goals is always to humanize the city. Because I think when people know that there are real faces behind the city, I think that helps to soften some of the things, and, it just brings a human element to it that I think is really important. So we always want to educate, we always want to humanize, and we always want to tell the story of our employees as well. So that's what Behind the City does. And Noelle, it's also kind of like Dirty Jobs, if you remember that show, like she gets in there and does the job as well. So she went up on a bucket truck. I don't know if Kathy can hold up.
I'm jealous. They would never let me do that kind of stuff.
We'll get you on Behind the City.
Which is the one where they had, some of the officers with the cat.
Oh, that's Shasta Cats.
That's the cat.
That's
That was really
Alexis.
cute.
Mhm. That's Alexis. She does the heart homepage.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, so anytime you put police with animals, they love it, right?
Yeah,
Right,
it's
Gina?
a hit.
But yeah, so it's just we always try to think outside the box rather than just having someone standing in front of a camera and talking about National Night Out. Put some cats or dogs with them and then let them talk.
And dancing, apparently. I also love the dance at the end.
Oh,
What was the dance?
I don't know.
Heather dance.
It was okay,
Not
fine.
Heather.
My team does. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, the jingle.
Yes.
Okay, I remember now. It's all coming back. So we did traffic services, aquatics maintenance in the summer, and then TTX Connect, of course, with the dancers. And then we have done a fleet services one. That one's recorded and edited, but we haven't posted it yet. And then, we love when we get the feedback. We always screenshot them and save them for later, because they're may or may not be few and far between, so we want to save those and recall them if you need to. So the PR team, like I said, is also the community relations group. And so they attend several community engagement events, and we just try and be out in the community as much as possible. So we always have a table at the Baylor Scott and White community showcase that they do every year for the residents and the nurses coming into Temple. The Judah Worship Center Outreach Festival requested that the city have some booths, so I think Noelle attended, and then I think she coordinated emergency management, and it's leaving me, but I know some, was it TTX Connect? Yeah, sorry. And so TTX Connect is also out there, so that was a really great opportunity to be in the community. As far as partnerships go, we had an introductory meeting with the new reporter at the Telegram a few months ago. The chamber has started back up their military relations council meetings, and so we do attend those and are a part of that, those conversations. I have a meeting set quarterly with the EDC comms person and the chamber comms person, and we meet regularly to chat. And then I also have a recurrent invite that goes out to the regional communications folks, whether it's city, county, ISD, I think Bell County Health is on there. So there's a few different communicators regionally that are on that list. We just meet for lunch. If you can make it, you can make it. If not, that's okay too. But it's just all about building relationships and having those in place for when they are needed. And then the upcoming events, we just had Hispanic Heritage Month, the town hall next week, that we're working with Councilmember Kirkendall and Mayor and City Manager's Office on. The Veterans Day ceremony, like I mentioned earlier, is coming up. The City Center grand opening is going to be paired with First Friday, and that's on November 7th, so we're looking forward to that. Community Summit we talked about is gonna be on November 14th, and this team kind of spearheads the logistics of that meeting, and the marketing team works with the departments on their needs. And then the Black History Month ceremony will be February.
Heather, on the media relations introductory meeting with TET, that's great. I would suggest we do that on a regular basis.
Okay. Mhm.
Get a quarterly at least.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Oh, this is a shout out for Noelle. So, I have mentioned before, when I graduated the program and then Lindsay graduated the program at Texas Christian University. And then, Noelle recently graduated the program. So what Noelle did through this program, it's certified public communicator program. And when you go through the program, you, attend for you go one summer for a week at TCU, you do a winter session at TCU for a week, and then you go back the next summer, and then you're there for another week. And so when you're there, you're listening to the professors, they're doing seminars and their sessions and things. You get to interact with other people from other cities. And then at the end of the day, the goal is to create an updated plan. So some people do strategic communications plans, some people do community engagement plans, some people do crisis communications plans. So that's always the end goal, is to have that project. And she updated our community engagement plan. At this time, we don't have any other people scheduled for this program. They actually changed the application process and the guidelines to get into the program because it's so popular. I mean, it's expanded out of Texas, and now people from all over the nation are coming to TCU for this program. So it's a really great program, and we're super proud of Noelle for completing that. Noelle was also, as part of the peer division, she was a moderator at a 3CMA conference. And it was a media training session at our national conference, and she got to moderate that. So wanted to shout her out there, and she did a fantastic job. So as far as the next division, we're going to go into tourism and convention. This is our division that is our tourism marketing team, our Mayborn Convention Center, and then the downtown team is within here. So as far as the downtown efforts go, we do continue our downtown outreach, and I think it's going really well. We continue to have our monthly downtown meetings. They continue to be very well attended, so I'm really proud of the strides that we've made there, and getting people to come, getting people to continue to come, and just engaging with our local businesses consistently. We have started doing text messages out to them. They're actually, well, not actually, they are really hard to get a hold of, but it makes sense because they're running a business. And so sometimes you have to message them through Facebook, go to the business, and it's hard to reach out to them. So text messages actually work really well. And so we've recently implemented that, and it's going good for them. They appreciate it as well. Along with the monthly committee meetings, we also do quarterly downtown lowdowns, and those are just a more informal come and go for our stakeholders. We might have a guest speaker to talk about a specific topic. The next one will be November 19th at Precious Memories, and those are also held in the evening for business owners that might not be able to come to the committee meeting in the morning. Our downtown coordinator has also been, and other staff when possible, attending the Chamber Business Link lunch. And then she also has worked to create a new newsletter for the downtown that goes specifically to the downtown stakeholders, called the Downtown Download. And the goal of that, again, is just to have another communication method with them to provide updates from the downtown committee meeting. Any us, like when Tanglefoot was happening, we sent a lot of updates to them directly through that. So the Downtown Download has been a really good addition to communicating with our downtown stakeholders.
Sarah's really doing a good job.
She's doing a great job. Thank you. So as far as downtown events, one thing about Sarah, speaking of Sarah, she loves a good event. She is very passionate and gets really excited. And so it's been really, really great to have her in this role from that aspect as well. So we have Trackside Cinema, which is our outdoor movies, essentially. And we had Encanto recently. We had Mean Girls on October 3rd for Reasons. And then on November 8th coming up, The Princess Diaries is going to be shown. Those are all free at the Yard, or were held at the Yard. On December 19th and 20th, we're switching it up though. We're going to do it at the Depot for weather. Last December, when we tried to do Christmas stuff outside, it was rainy and messy, and it was a whole thing. So we're moving that one to the Depot, and we're going to show Polar Express inside at the Depot, and there's trains and Santa and Jingle Bells, and it'll be great. And we're doing it on 2 nights because when you do it indoors, we limit capacity, so we're offering that one for 2 nights. Oktoberfest is coming up this weekend from 6 to 9 in downtown Temple, so make sure you go. It's gonna be really great. There's going to be music and then also lots of different contests that the different breweries are sponsoring and hosting out at the yard. On Halloween, they're doing trackside treats, which will be trick or treating along the Santa Fe Market Trail, ultimately taking you down to the yard, which will be showing the Hocus Pocus. And then the Sanderson sisters will also be there. So if you or somebody you know likes the Sanderson sisters and you feel like you need your picture on Halloween night, feel free. We also are getting ready to release a haunted digital tour of downtown Temple. So if y'all remember from several years ago, we did that haunted tour downtown. And it actually went, it was really cool. I liked it. I wasn't involved a whole lot in the planning, but I thought it was really cool. And it was when the haunted Arcadia was still dark and dingy and scary. So we got to go in there and get spooked. But we're doing a digital version. So we're basically taking all of that content that we got from that tour and putting it into a self-guided digital version. So people can, we want to encourage them to come downtown and take the self-guided haunted tour of downtown Temple. First Friday, so one of the things, I think I have a later slide on it, but one of the things that we're doing, oh no, it's down here at the bottom, new First Friday block parties. So what we're gonna try and do is once a quarter-ish, close down a street in downtown Temple and have a stage with live music and make it kind of like a street party. And then try and engage the businesses to come out to that as well. We've talked to them about that. They're all super excited. So the first one though, we're going to pair with the City Center grand opening on 7th. And then a portion of the street next to where the grand opening or the ribbon cutting chainsaw, I don't know yet, when will be the music will be down on that. Sprinkle Crawl is coming up, which is basically us working with the businesses to have them encourage people to come and crawl and dress like Santa or another Christmas character of their choice in downtown Temple. And then Jingle Jam is our Christmas concert. That's the one that got kind of rained out last year and it was sad. And so we're hoping and praying for good weather this year. And looking at the potential of maybe doing that at the Arcadia or something else in future years to bring an event there. And for people to be safe on the inside from the weather. I think that's it for that. As far as the tourism team goes, they continue to work on outreach and sales. So they're always visiting. I think they have a schedule, it might be quarterly, where they go and visit all of the hotels who we give key cards to, we give tent cards for their bars or restaurant areas. And then they kind of did that again right before Tanglefoot. So we're always doing the hotel outreach. They were at the Day for Women. They had a booth and activation there. Any downtown programs that we have, we always have a downtown booth activated, and usually we'll have Discover Temple content on that as well. The new doctor event, they were present there. They're working currently on a meetings and sports sales plan. That's really gonna help, it's probably 95% done, but it's really gonna help us target how we're going to approach these meeting organizers, these sports tournament organizers, and bring them to Temple. What are our strategies? And then we're also working on event sponsorship policy and application. So when people come to Discover Temple and they want us to sponsor their soccer tournament or their football club, we don't currently have any policies on that, so we're working on that. As far as Texas Music Friendly goes, I think that is also making some really good strides. Courtney on the tourism team is doing a really great job leading that. The last meeting was held in August, and the next meeting will be November 14th. I believe it's at 10 a.m. If any of you want to attend, it's going to be at the Arcadia, and they're going to be doing a tour, and then we'll have a meeting there as well. We recently started doing, anybody who is either on the Texas Music Friendly Committee or has signed up to receive emails, we do regular emails to them to keep them engaged. And we also do a newsletter to that group as well. So that is something new that we have recently been doing. We've also worked on our Discover Temple website directory to encourage local venues, musicians, and any other music-based businesses to be put into our directory. So we're really trying to build up that database as part of our music friendly efforts. And then lastly, the Texas Music Office did share and post about Tanglefoot, so I thought that was a really cool benefit of being a part of the Texas Music Friendly program as well. So as far as the Mayborn goes, a lot of good stuff happening at the Mayborn. Hannah is the new venue and guest experience manager out there, and she's doing a wonderful job. They began working with an exclusive food and beverage catering company, which I know was kind of in progress before they transitioned over to us from Parks and Rec. And so that has all been solidified, and it's moving and grooving. And so they are working with Let Us Do the Cooking. They're working on Momentous is a new software that again was a part of was an initiative when they were in the Parks and Recreation Department, and we've just kind of continued that on. We are working with finance on finalizing Momentous implementation, and the training as well, I believe, is nearly complete. We also hired recently a new admin or guest experience position at the Mayborn Center. The previous person retired. And so we're excited to have that new person on board in the facility. Another really big thing for the Mayborn was working on policies and procedures and contract updates, because a lot of it was in need of some updates. And so we've got those all in progress. Really, really excited about that. And it's going to make it so much easier for the client as well to contract with us and go through those processes. As far as facility improvements go, we've done air wall repairs. AV upgrades, which I know is a hot topic, is in progress, and we're just waiting for them to get started. I think at the end of the month, hopefully they're coming, I think on Monday, to do kind of a walkthrough of the facility before they get started. Wi-Fi upgrades, Mayor, I'm looking at you. I know that's very important to you. So that is happening there. The parking lot is getting restriped, so I've been working with Kenny on that. Which is very exciting. We have received probably a handful of complaints since May that it's just really hard to see the striping. And it's hard for people to know kind of where to go or how to maneuver the parking lot. They did also have a generator repair that was needed, and there are some pretty significant HVAC repairs that are in progress for the facility. So lots going on at the Mayborn, but it's all really good stuff. Jeanette recently became certified through, it used to be TACBD, but now they're called Destinations Texas. And so she received her DMS certification, Destination Management Specialist certification. I think it's a 2 or 3 year program. I cannot recall this time, but we're really excited for her. She's been with the city for I think 13 or 14 years, something like that. So she's really great. Also, Sarah, who's our downtown coordinator that we talked about earlier, is a part of the Leadership Simple class for this year. And so I just wanted to shout that out, and she's right there in the middle in the white coat. Okay, so creative services, this is Sarah, Chris, and Ari. So Ari on the right leads the team. She's our creative services manager. And then Sarah's a graphic designer, and Chris, many of you have probably interacted with Chris. He's our videographer and our photographer for the city of Bethel. So they're a very, very busy team as well. They have tons of projects going on, how they support our department and others. But these are just some that I wanted to shout out. We did a Lake Belton High School focus group and worked on a design for the water tower out front. And that was just a really fun project. And so Ari did this mock-up with the design. And
Is that what they landed on?
Mhm.
That's
There's 2 sides to it though.
Okay, I was gonna say that surprises me because the whole thing was about.
This is like the
Getting there.
temple side, I think, and then the other side is the Bronco side.
Gotcha.
I just can't remember what's on it, but they've seen it and they're good with it.
As long as Mike's happy.
Mike's happy.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So we also worked to update some downtown signage that was crinkling and failing, and but didn't want to spend too much because I know there's a downtown wayfinding project and there's other things happening, and so we did that on the major entries into downtown. We updated those barrel signs recently, and then a couple other kiosks, and also believe we're reordering the banners, the general banners, the colorful ones, because they're faded and old and dingy, and I think they've been up for 3 or 4 years. So getting new ones of those. The hometown hero banners is always, a thing, because if you imagine what we're asking people for, which is their older, their photos that from their loved ones or whatnot, a lot of them are old photos, and so we have to push those through AI to generate a photo that's high res enough to be able to print it for a banner quality. And so, I would not have thought to do that, but I'm glad that my team thought to do that, and so that's been a really cool tool to use AI for. Parks and Recreation has a recreation station that they, are going to be launching, I think sometime in the next few months, and we worked on a truck wrap for that. It's so cute. I'm so excited for everybody to see it. It's gonna catch so many eyes, and it's gonna be a really cool thing for our community. And then lastly, Ari, is kind of spearheading the digital accessibility in the DOJ ruling. We've been working with Kathy and Kelly a little bit on, but we're just trying to manage that and figure out what we need to do to, make sure we're compliant with those new accessibility, laws and rules. I think this is my last slide for creative services. One thing that I'm doing, is reviewing all logos. So back in 2019, when our department started, Bryn had a vision to be a branded house and not a house of brands. And I know y'all heard that term before. And so 5-6 years in, I want to go and look at our logos that we have. I want to make sure we're still in line with that vision, and I want to make sure everything that we're using is aligned, with our brand guidelines, which we are also updating, as well. And so we're going to review existing logos. We're probably going to retain most of them, but some of them might need to be discontinued or realigned with the brand. And then lastly, like I said, the digital accessibility, we're working on a process to work with, other city staff and leadership on, the best way to go about becoming, compliant. And so we're working on an executive summary, and sort of a brief that we can send out to update people and explain to them how they can help us in this effort. Internal trainings is something that we always try and do, in our department. And so in May, Lindsay did a Meta Business Suite overview because it was, sort of a new feature. We didn't really use the business suite a lot, at least. And so we did an internal training on that, and I think a lot of people really benefited from that. And then in August, Sinette did a, CrowdRiff is, and UGC stands for user generated content. And so we have a tool where if you post on social media and you hashtag downtown Temple, we can have access to that photo if we ask you. And so it's user generated content. They can share it with us basically, and then we can then reuse it in any of our marketing or communications platforms. And so really the tourism team is the one who uses that the most, but Sinette did a training with the marketing folks, so that way they could, be a little bit more familiar with it than they already were. And then I just have a couple more slides for other department updates. As far as department awards go, I just wanted to update from the beginning of the year. So year to date from January, we have 24 awards. So with 3CMA, we've got, the Airfest won a branding award. The Tornado Recovery got a photography award. Graphic design, the Holly Jolly logo, and a couple others. In NAGC, which is National Association of Government Communicators, the pavement management series that Bryn mentioned won an award for educational video. The Let's Talk Temple series won an award in the news video category. The City of Temple Business Plan won an award in the annual report category, plus 2 more. Destinations Texas, we won community engagement campaign. That is the Downtown Temple Ticket, which is a digital magazine. The Discover Temple blog redesign won a website design award. TOA, which I can never for the life of me remember what this stands for. I think it's Texas Association of Telecommunications Officers Association. I don't know.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Nobody knows I said association. But so basically it's a video, association. It's for Texas. So NATOA is the national one. We won an award for the Discover Temple commercial. The best overall, which actually is, I think, their biggest award for the East Downs neighborhood plan video that we did with Neighborhood Services. And then for Tamio, we have a plus 2 more. And then for Tamio, the Heart to Home Animal Adoption Center, even though that feels like it was a really long time ago, it was still in their window being able to apply. So that won a new logo award. The Holly Jolly Temple, I think that was for the video series that we did, won the marketing campaign award. Central Texas Airfest won a poster award plus 5 more. So very, very proud of my team and all of their hard work. I think pays off when we get to see these things come to fruition. They're really fun to get to accept in person in front of all of your peers. And then just know that you're being recognized feels really good. And then lastly, I just wanted to say that was a lot of information. And I don't really ever get to deep dive into anything with y'all, but the leadership report, me and my team work on quarterly to send out to council and leadership. And that does take a little bit more of a deep dive into some of the metrics and the analytics and the other things that we have going on. So this is also a resource as well. And I'm not sure how long I went for. I tried to go really fast, but that concludes my presentation.
Very good. Council, anything for Heather? Y'all are busy. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I thought that was me. All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the fire department. So, with the start of the new budget year, we increased our, numbers by 10, or we are working on increasing our numbers by 10. So this is our new, work chart here. So 130 in operation now, 16 in administration, for a total staff of 146. As you look at how we are staffed currently, again, 146 authorized, 139 of those are certified positions or have to be firefighters and at least EMT. And then we have 7 civilian positions. 130 of the authorized, we have 119 currently on staff. 110 of those are on apparatus currently, 7 in the training academy, and 13 open positions, which as a matter of fact, I was hiring some tentative job offers or signing some tentative job offers before I came over and actually signed one while I was sitting here. So we are working on getting those positions filled right now. In our administration, we've got the 16 and 14 currently on staff. And hopefully after today's council meeting, we'll be adding or filling those 2 positions right there through promotions. So-
Steve, I have a kid that is, was one of my employees that is in Killeen. I think there were 2 that are in
Yep.
Killeen. Will you let us know when they're gonna go through graduation and stuff, or?
Yes, so their graduation is next Friday.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay,
yep.
'cause I know a bunch of us wanted to go.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you the time and the specifics on it.
That would be great, thank you.
But yeah, it's, they actually graduate Fire Academy next Friday. I think he's still gotta go to EMT school, but I don't, no, he doesn't. He's already been through EMT school, so yeah,
Okay.
he should be done.
Okay, all right, great.
All right, so for incidents, this year, in fiscal year 25, we ran 15,333 calls, which averages out to be about 43 per day. That's up 1 from last year, on average per day. You can kind of see the breakdowns. Still our biggest area that we're doing is EMS and rescue responses at around 55% of our call volume. Next up is our good intents over there, which is it can be a lot of different things, but it could be someone driving down the street, they see some smoke coming from a house and call 911. We get out there, it's just a barbecue grill in the backyard. And so again, that's a good intent. The caller thought the house was on fire, but really wasn't. And then all the way around, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but you can see that fires actually make up around 3% of our calls. When I ran these numbers, I was really surprised. For total breakdown, we had 467 fires last year, or last fiscal year. That is a record year for Temple again. Our last record year was in 2022, when we had all the grass fires. And that was 466 calls, so we made a record by 1 call. But this year, grass fires and dumpster fires, and probably everybody's been seeing some of the media that's been going on recently on some of our fires. We have had a lot of set grass fires and set dumpster fires, so we've definitely got some folks, our fire marshals are chasing down. On this, a lot of these fires though, as far as the fire marshal's office goes, are happening outside the city, but they're getting called in as in the city, so we're responding, taking care of the fire. But then we have to turn the investigation either over to the county, or to the state, and right now, county doesn't have a fire marshal, so we're turning them over to the state. And like I say, the state's got very limited resources, so a lot of them aren't being investigated the same way they would be if it was our folks. So, that is one of our challenges with some of these fires. So if you look back over the last 10 years, worth of data, we have been, mostly steadily increasing, but you will notice we ran 86 less calls this last year, than we did the year before. And, that is, I think a couple things. Number one, we did not have what I would call a large major event during this time period. Last year we had the tornado, so we had a lot of calls in a couple of days. A couple of the previous years we had ice storms and stuff, and we ran a lot of calls. But this year, obviously, we didn't have anything to. And we've also cut out a few of our EMS responses that we respond on. AMR or typical EMS, our local ambulance service, still responds, just we don't go with the big fire trucks. So just a few things that we've done, and we kind of held steady this year with that 1,500 or 15,000 run volume. So next up is responses, and so I always talk about this whenever I do one of these presentations. There is a difference. Call volume is the actual number of 911 calls that we've gone on. Responses are the number of times a fire truck's been out of the station making one of those calls. So like if we have a structure fire, that is actually 6 responses because 6 vehicles are going on that. Or a large car wreck with a rollover or entrapment or something. We're sending multiple apparatus on that to take care of that incident. And so that's why the numbers vary. Responses are always going to be more than call volume. And so that's why you see about 3,000 more responses than you do calls. But this is our breakdown. Again, every month is right around the same. As far as call volume goes, really no big months or anything. I guess our slowest month there was in April. But stations, when you look at those, far and away, station 1 and station 3 carry the bulk of our responses in town. They're also one of our multi company stations, so they've got multiple units running out of those stations, and that's why they have those there, is because they are running so many more calls than the other stations. One that I want to point out is Fire Station 7. It is on the rise, and I think we'll pass Station 5 this year in call volume, and so they are going to be moving up one. And I think they will also probably pass Station 2 for sure this year. And again, they are just getting busier as the west side of town gets built out. And the 18,000 averages out to about 51 responses a day. So 43 calls a day, 51 responses a day. So every day we are having a multi-unit response. So if you look back again, call volume was down a little bit, so you can see response volume was down a little bit as well, but we're right there still in that same ballpark. So one thing that we do have that's starting with cooperation of Bell County Communications and actually all the departments in the county is what's called Right Side Health is going to start working with us, and that's slated to start next month. So basically what's going to happen, this is one of those, it's also called Nurse Navigator in some places and stuff. But what happens a lot of times is folks will call 911 because they don't have a primary care physician, or they don't have basically anything else to do, or they don't know what else to do. So they just call 911 and say, I need an ambulance, or I need a fire truck, or I need whatever. We get out there and it's really not an emergency. It's a normal everyday health concern that normally you go to like your primary care physician or something along those lines with. Well, what we're going to do here is there's always a set of questions that are asked on any medical call to basically categorize and prioritize that medical call and tell us what we're responding to and how fast we need to respond to it. Well, what we're going to do with this one is our medical directors have went through and they have culled out about 6 or 8 different call categories. And if one of those call categories comes up on this through that questioning, they're gonna send these folks over to a e-doctor, basically. So there is this group, Right Sight is the company name. They have offices in San Antonio, and San Antonio's been using them for about 3 years now, having great success with them. And so what'll happen is you'll call 911, you'll get categorized into this, and you will be, basically, they're gonna say, hey, we can get you on the phone with a ER physician right now, if you're okay with that. And so if they say yes, they get transferred over to the 911 physician. That person that will come up on their screen or just on the phone call. We'll talk to them about their symptoms, what's going on. If they can do it, they will prescribe them a medication, call it into a local pharmacy, and take care of that without them ever leaving home and without us making a response on it. And both us and MR will not make a response to that. They will just get taken care of. Now, if for some reason that person does not have transportation to go get their prescription, they will have it delivered to them. If they don't have the means, they have some ways of helping cover that cost. And so it is going to be, I think, a really good benefit to the community once it gets started. But there's a lot of these folks that literally, they don't need to go to the AR, they don't need to go to the urgent care, they just need a medication or a primary care physician, and that's what these folks are going to do. They will take everybody, and the person that they see, it's not like a PA or a nurse practitioner or anything like that. It is an actual certified, Texas certified ER physician that is actually seeing them and making the diagnosis and stuff. Now, if for some reason the person that gets sent to this, when the doctor talks to them, says, no, you need to get to the ER, they will transfer the call back to us and it'll be dispatched out as a normal 911 call. And we'll respond in our normal manner.
What's the cost?
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's the cost associated with that?
So they will, for us, nothing, and for Bell County, nothing. For the patient, it's going to depend. It'll be completely dependent on their means. If they have health insurance, what they'll do is they'll file with that health insurance. And then I don't remember right off the top of my head, but I don't think that they bill, like, let's say your health insurance, it's $100 fee and the health insurance pays 80, then that's what they take. They basically take what the health insurance pays. If they don't have health insurance and they can't afford to pay, then there's no charge. So again, I think it's pretty much a win-win for all of us in this. And we're really anxious to see how many calls get sent over to that. The Right Side folks were estimating that about 5 to 8% of our calls would end up with them. So, several a week, but not an overwhelming amount of them. But it's going to give folks an option of being able to do stuff. The other thing is, let's say it's a diagnostic thing where you need to get an x-ray or you need to get a test or something. They will set that up with the patient, schedule them in. Again, if they don't have a means of transportation, they'll schedule them with Uber to go pick them up. It's really a pretty fascinating and pretty great service if it works out the way they're talking it is. So we're anxious to try it. Like I said, San Antonio's been using it for about 2 to 3 years and having good luck with it. So I think it's going to be a pretty good thing. Yeah. Any questions at all?
Well, are there any, would there be any issues if something happens to that individual and they called you guys and they didn't get back to you in time and something happened to that individual? Is there any liability on our part since we were the first phone call?
Yeah, so I mean, that's going to be handled through Bell County. So it's because this is a Bell County
Okay.
program.
Oh, it said that right there.
Yep.
Sorry.
But basically it's one of those where, let's say that you call and they say, hey, you qualify for the Right Side, you can see an ER physician right now. And you say, nope, don't want to do that. They send us just like normal.
Okay.
And so it's really 100% patient driven. It has to be, at your request or basically your approval. So they're going to say, hey, I can do this for you right now. And if you say yes, then you go to them. If you say no, then here we come.
I think this is wonderful.
Yep. Yeah. We've been working on it about 2 years and we finally got it going. And so I'm anxious to see how it works. All right. So some of our major projects we've got going, we've got our new car fire training prop that just got installed about a month ago. And I've got a video for you here in a minute. We're working on the remodels of Fire Station 2 and 4. 2 is well under design. We just had a meeting, I think it was last week that we saw the 30% finished drawings on that. 4, I think the contract for the design work is on this council meeting, I think, or maybe it's on the next one. So anyway, those are both in progress. 7 is progressing very well. We just reviewed the 60% completion of the architectural design work, and so we're real thrilled about those. And I've got some pictures of some of that stuff coming up here in just a minute. We got some new apparatus finally starting to arrive. It seems like it's taken forever, but we finally have that happening. We have 2 vehicles that should be arriving in December. That's our tanker or tender. It's our water hauling truck that should be here. And then also our Type 3 squad, which is going to be a squad vehicle, but also a wildland firefighting truck. So it'll kind of be a dual role truck for us. And then in January, we've got our first of our fire engines coming. December of next year, we've got 2 more engines that are scheduled to be completed. And so we're anxious to get all of those in and get them on the streets here. Fire Station 7 funding will be coming up next year, and I think Tracy, that's gonna be like in April or so.
May, April, May.
Yep. So the new fire engine is also in that, the FY 26 fire engine's in there. And then again, we've got the 10 new positions, 2 fire inspectors, 3 battalion chiefs, 3 battalion chief drivers, and then 2 coverage firefighters. That, like I said, we're trying to work on hiring for right now as we speak. So here's the car fire prop. Kelly, you may need to do this one for me. All off the thing. It gets very hot, by the way. It's very realistic, very hot. But all 100% safe. There's the instructor, whenever they're doing anything with these, we've got an emergency stop button. You hit the stop button and the gas shuts off instantly. Fire is instantly out. And so 100% safe for our firefighters when they're going through the training process. So
How do those?
I don't know,
Houses
not
not-
100%. That's a
Well-
pretty healthy fire right there. I bet I could find a way to mess it up.
Well, we would keep you from doing that, so. Yeah, so it's really amazing. Yeah, you see the hoses and the wire, because that's the electronic control back there. And then, of course, the gas line that's going up into it. And yeah, when I first saw it, I thought, okay, that's gonna get hot. And believe it or not, all of the controls are in the trunk back here. And after we burnt this 3 or 4 times, we went back there, opened the trunk up, and it is just as cool as could be. You could stick your hand right in on this stuff. It did not get hot at all. But there, right here in the back, there is insulation and a pretty good firewall between it. And it really works, because I was looking at the same thing going, how in the world is that not gonna melt or cause us problems? And it stayed cool, so I was impressed. So, but the person that built this car prop for us is the same folks that built all of our internal props that are inside the training center. And so, again, they've got a lot of experience with this, and they've got, literally thousands of these things out there. But you can also see it comes around on a little dolly wheels. These wheels don't actually work. So it's on the little dolly wheels, but we can push it around or push it inside if we're not going to use it, and protect all of the electronics and stuff. So.
Tracy, you need to get him a weed eater.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So this is Fire Station 2, and some of the changes. So over here, the fitness center is staying basically the same, but there is a porch out front on Station 2 if you go out by there, and we are enclosing that and making that into a purification room. So all of our turnout gear will be stored in there outside of the apparatus bay, away from the diesel exhaust and what have you. And we are also changing that into a safe room. So like in case of another tornado, that'll be somewhere people can go. It's going to be an actual hardened shelter with a special door on that to protect the firefighters and anyone that happened to be there from a tornado like event. Over here on this side, you can see we've got 6 bedrooms, 2 individual restrooms. We're also installing an airlock here, again, to try to separate the engine bay from the living quarters a little bit more. And then this section right here is the add-on. It's about 600 square feet, if I remember correctly, but we're enlarging the kitchen, the day room, the kitchen and the day room on that, and the dining room, and giving it a little bit more space. And then that's also the extra space for the extra bedrooms. And some folks will say, well, why are you doing that? You only have 3 there. We're trying to build the station big enough for some growth. Either for potentially a squad at another point in time, another second engine or maybe ladder truck out there. or an ambulance going out there. So again, we're trying to look, more towards the future and future growth with this. So to start with, it'll just be the one crew, 3-person crew. But like I say, I anticipate we'll end up with at least an ambulance or a squad, or maybe a second engine out there at some point in time, into the distant future. Station 7, this is the design that we're looking at, or the photo that we're looking at of it. Again, looks very much like the buildings that are out there, on the west side. We tried to duplicate some of the rock and the cement board, materials and stuff there. A few of the things that you're gonna notice that are different, obviously, I like the red doors, and so we're going with red doors and stuff on there. But these are bifold doors also, so they do not go up, they actually open outward like kind of like a closet door, if you will. They operate very quickly and are, very much less likely to get ran into by fire trucks too, so. This is what the station looks like. Again, trying to plan for the future. There will be one engine out there to start with 3 folks, and we're looking at potentially having an ambulance out here at the station eventually. So that's why all the bedrooms are actually 8 sleeping rooms and 3 restrooms in the building for the crew. That is over here in this section. We've got a laundry room for just uniforms and regular clothes and bedding. We've got a decon utility room where they'll be able to go in, spray off any of their clothes if they get contaminated with whatever they get on them, and then also wash their turnout gear in that room. We've got bunker gear storage here, and again, the bunker room storage is a hardened area of the building, so again, it would protect them from tornadic events or storms. The kitchen bay room with the individual pantries, the fitness center, captain's office, a public restroom, a watch office, and then some storage areas. This does have an upstairs for all of the HVAC and mechanical systems, and then the open patio out here. It's actually covered, but it is a patio that's open. The bay is a double depth bay, so we'll actually be able to park 2 vehicles back to back there, or 1 large ladder truck. And it is obviously 3 across, or will hold three different apparatus, or potentially up to 6 apparatus. So any questions about any of that? That's kind of what the kitchen's looking like, or what we're envisioning. All right, so next up, I want to talk about junior fire cadets. That's happened since our last presentation. Had another great year of junior fire cadets. Around 150 kids came through. Great graduation, always a good time at graduation, but they really enjoyed it. And so again, appreciate you guys letting us do this. It's 100% through council support that we're able to do this. And so very much appreciated. We had a couple of recognitions. So Preparedness Day, we was last month. Got the proclamation there. And then we had one of our firefighters, Mr. Kincanis there, just graduate with his paramedic license. We were obviously at Tanglefoot, and yes, I got to show the fire guys, they were eating. But that was the only picture that we got of them, was doing that. But you can see here, we had several of us in the command post, working the event both days. And then this is the inside of the mobile hospital that we had. We had, at one point, I think we had more ER doctors and nurses on staff than what Baylor Scott & White did that night. And I think that was Friday night. They were cram-packed in there. We did have that night more doctors than we had patients. So, which was a good problem to have, and we were happy that it went that way. But again, we did that, and if we do Tanglefoot again next year, which I understand we are, we will likely invite those folks to come back. That it worked out very well. We would take care of anyone inside. If they needed further care, we'd move them out to the mobile hospital. And then if they needed transported onto the ER, then we would transport them. We had ambulances back here on the back side of it. But basically what they do is they enter this front side over here and then out the back side if they needed to go to the hospital. We did treat about 15 people, if I remember correctly. Most of it was heat related stuff. And if I recall correctly, we transported 2 to the ER. Fire Safety Day was just this last weekend. Fantastic turnout. We lost count, around noon of how many people we had there. But we went through literally hundreds of hot dogs, went back, bought hundreds more, went through those. And so just a great event, but had a fantastic turnout and, everybody had a fantastic time. So, it was really a good Saturday. We love those days.
Is that a man down behind that, little one with the
Yeah.
hose?
So it almost looks a little too real, doesn't it?
Is that a dummy?
That's one of our mannequins, yep.
Okay,
So,
dummy is apparently not the thing to say, sorry about that.
so, that's actually a child-sized, mannequin, or as you prefer.
I'll
And
go
what
with
they would do
mannequin,
is,
sir.
they would drag the mannequin back and forth, and then they would stop and spray the hose.
They
and
were doing a
try to knock something
field
down.
exercise, all right.
He exhausted.
Yeah. So, but they all had a good time. By far that event, the firefighter challenge event is what we call it, had the largest line. It actually went till about 1:30. It was from 10 to 1 is what our day, but to get everybody through it, it took us till about 1:30 to get everybody through. That one was very popular. The ride in the Diamond T was very popular. When I drove the Diamond T the other day and I had calluses on my hands, something terrible from driving. And if you didn't know, the Diamond T is a stick shift, so you do have to know how to actually shift and use a clutch. And it also does not have power steering. It is Armstrong steering, as I like to call it. And so that's why the calluses on my hands, but I drove that thing for about 3.5 hours and I was tired at the end of the day. It wore me out. So, but again, great day. Everybody had a lot of fun. And our cadets, all of our cadets were there, and they had a blast. As a matter of fact, we took turns in the sparking suit with the cadets. And so, but they did a fantastic job, as did the crews. And like I said, everybody had a really good time.
I think that's fine.
All right, so last up, I think, is our Rescue Elves program. We are getting geared up for Rescue Elves, and so you're gonna start seeing a bunch of Rescue Elves information out there. We're doing a couple of more fundraisers here in the next month or so. You probably saw we did a feet in seats because one of the most requested items through Rescue Elves is socks and underwear. And so that is very common. For those that don't know about Rescue Elves, it's a Christmas giving program. We work directly with the school districts, both Belton and Temple ISD, through their counseling departments. We do not take applications just from the public. We work strictly through the schools and through the counselors. We also work with Holy Trinity, Priority School, and I think we work with Central Texas School out on 93 as well. And then my wife got involved with the homeschool folks, I believe, back a year or so ago. So we try to catch all of the kids that are out there. And what we try to do is grab any of those kids with those, what I call extreme needs out there, that literally, if we don't step in and help them, they are going to get nothing for Christmas. And like I said, a lot of those requests that we get is like socks and underwear and haircuts. I mean, we've had requests for haircuts and all that kind of stuff. We do get a few requests for the big stuff, but they are very few and far between. But we get most of the stuff is for those, what we would consider, I think, essentials. You know, they're looking for school clothes and coats and that type of stuff. And so it's a great program, and we're really happy to have it and really happy to provide support to the community that we were able to. So, and we really brighten several families, usually around 200 to 300 families a year by doing this program. So it's really a big one. And I always like to talk a lot about it. And so that's what I've got for today. So any questions?
Your Temple Health program, how does that, talk about taking monetary donations?
Yep, yes, sir.
How's it publicized?
So we do it through social media. The marketing communications folks do a lot of it for us through the social media. They do run some billboards and other media type of services. I think it's in the Telegram. I think published some of that. But then we do events around town, so we'll go and do collection days at Walmart or, I think we've got a night planned at Pizza Wings and things for a day to do that. But, yeah, we take donations via, they can either walk into the station. We send out letters to local businesses as well to be able to donate. And then also, we'll publicize, we've got a Venmo now, so you can Venmo money as well. And so any of that, and like, one of the things we, see if I can go back. I didn't get a picture of this year. One of the things we do there in Fire Safety Day is we do a bake sale for that. And the bake sale this year for that raised over $600. So, it was pretty fantastic. But yeah, we get it out there a lot of ways. And, like I say, the marketing folks are a big help on that. They are deeply involved in us, getting the word out.
Whatever the television stations do, the Food for Family, I mean, that just, you hear so much of that. Maybe it's just me, I don't hear as much about this program.
This seems like a sort of a more logical, focused way to do it is through the schools.
Yeah.
Because there's so many needs and then the counselors know about it versus, I'm sorry, there have been cases where, people apply to lots of agencies and have a big Christmas,
Yeah.
And so I think this is a good tack, especially for the city, to work with the school district.
Yeah, that's one reason why we switched over to that. That's something my wife did back probably a year or two after I got here.
Yeah.
Was switch over to that method because again, the counselors are the ones that they spend every day with the
Yeah.
kids. They know the true needs of those kids in the community, and so they are deeply involved in that. And so again, we feel like we don't eliminate all of it. I mean, we're not that crazy to think that we're eliminating all of it, but we eliminate most of that. Where people are going to multiple groups and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Very good. I like it.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Chief. All right, very good. Then with that, everyone, it is 5 minutes after 4. We will enter into executive session to receive and discuss a briefing regarding certain economic development prospects. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 5511057, the city council will meet in closed session to discuss or deliberate commercial or financial information received from a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the city of Temple, and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations, or to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to such a business prospect. No final action will be taken. So I'll now adjourn the workshop and convene the executive session at 5 minutes after